this is probably an inside job. As a prosecutor, as a homicide prosecutor, I had a case very similar to this one. And the question becomes, what kind of evidence do they have?
So now, Ambrosio, you have worked as part of a sex crimes unit before, as I understand. The one charge that was filed is aggravated indecent assault, a felony of the first degree. Can you explain what that means?
Yes, look, in Pennsylvania, this law is basically a sexual assault crime or a type of rape. So I think the real issue in this case, what it's going to come down to, is Pennsylvania statute or evidence code in allowing other alleged victims to come in and testify.
Well, look, the only defense that Trump had on this was that the money wasn't used to pay off both of these women for political reasons, but it was in order to protect his family. That is, he didn't want the First Lady and his children to know that he had two of these affairs. It is still a violation of the law to use money for political reasons in a campaign, and that's the real problem that the president has going forward.
I think the actions are setting the stage for a major custody battle. There are two possible scenarios that can come from the DCFS investigation. Scenario number one, they find that the allegations are unfounded and that there's insufficient evidence, and they drop their investigation. Scenario number two is that they determine that there is sufficient evidence for the allegations against Mr. Pitt. Just because the department has extended its investigation doesn't mean that there are new allegations or that there's evidence against Mr. Pitt that he did something wrong. It is not uncommon for DCFS to extend its investigations in order to make sure that they've done everything right.
Federal cases always have cooperating witnesses. I mean, it's very standard in federal investigations that they will have other people cooperate in order to build a case. What's different about this case is that the second person they made a deal with is with Singer, right? It's kind of like making a deal with Don Corleone to get everybody else, behind him, right? Making a deal with Michael to get Fredo. My client still has his rights. And I'm here to protect those.
You met with him?
I have.
What was he like when you met him?
Well, obviously he is going through what can only be described as a living hell. He's going through a lot right now. That's all really I'm liberty to say because of attorney-client privilege. But I'm looking forward to seeing him today and throughout the week in order to discuss this case with him and
What's
move
his
forward.
family saying? Are they supporting him? Or are they standing with him?
They are. His family is in seclusion. They have received a lot of threats through social media, frankly, as have I in my office, just for representing him. So this is what I'm talking about, the idea that we shouldn't have a process, that it's all done. We do have a process. Everyone is presumed innocent. If Mr. Andresian isn't presumed innocent and has a right to a fair trial, then no one does. We don't want a system where a president of the United States, for political reasons, investigates or prosecutes people. That's why we have civil servants and career prosecutors make those decisions.
New information in the case of a 12-year-old Ohio boy shot and killed by a police officer after a witness saw the boy playing with a toy gun. Ambrosio, I'll start with you. Would Prosecutor Timothy McGinty have a reason to stick to the law and not have the grand jury take a vote?
Well, the law is such that once the jury decided that it was a justifiable homicide, a justified shooting, they were never going to get to what charges to indict the officer with. Once you make that decision, once the grand jury made that decision, there was no going forward as a matter of law.
Ambrosio, I want to start with you because you've been connected to this county and this city, Paris, California. Why didn't anyone notice?
I think the Turpins were very good at avoiding detection. And we tend not to know our neighbors anymore. Most of us just don't. And it wasn't enough to call the police. People don't want to get involved.
I think what will happen to the parents is that this will eventually go to trial and that the jury is most likely to convict them. And that means they'll spend the rest of their lives in prison. As to the children, I really don't know. It's really in God's hands and it's in the community's hands to see what they can do to help these kids.